this starting now. All right, so if you guys want to mute your camera, go for it. See you in a bit.
All right. So excited.
No, bro, chill.
Oh yeah, Norma's picture, bitch.
Right?
Yes.
Did you send me the link to that? Or it's on your thing? I don't know. I don't know. Can you? I'll get it. I'll get it from Joe or something. No, you're not gonna be able to. I sent it to you at some point, Emily. I don't know. I'll find it. Fuck, man. No, I need to send it to you. You're not gonna be able to get it. Okay, I'm gonna text it to you. Okay, is that okay? Yeah. You sure? It's gonna show up on your computer? No, but I'll type it exactly. It'll be fine. Just send it. Do you need your charger? Not right now. Fuck, bro. Dude, are you sure to send it to you? It's on your right now.
What's going on?
I'm trying to get this to Emily. Emily, I don't know, dude. Joseph, can you text Emily the link to the Zoom, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Emily, Joseph's gonna text you.
There are 5 beautiful brothers who have labored long and hard with one purpose in mind, and the recent certification of the 2nd consecutive million-selling record on the...
Angel, can you type? Or no, never mind, I got it.
What do you need?
I got it. I got it.
If you want, I can, just let me know. I'll start letting
Okay, can you type that first part into the chat? Welcome to an Oldies Inspired Love Jam. We'll begin shortly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I did.
Brothers who have labored long and hard with one purpose in mind, and the recent certification of the 2nd consecutive million-selling record on the Atlantic label indicates that their purpose has finally been achieved and establishes them firmly at the very top of the music world. If you will, please, a thunderous welcome for the Spinners. Burn there's an ugly rumor going around about me being dead from an overdose of dope. I am not dead, nor am I dopey enough to put dope in my body. And I hope that all of you in the audience who consider yourselves fans of Soul Train, I hope you're smart enough not to misuse your beautiful bodies that way. There are 5 beautiful brothers who have labored long and hard with one purpose in mind.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Sara Borjas. I will be your host. We are just waiting a few more minutes for folks to get in. If you have not quite yet sneak peeked the playlist, please see it in the chat. Get a beer, get some tissues. Text your mom. Block the people you should have blocked 10 years ago. And get ready. All right, so we'll get started. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Sara. I will be your host this evening. Welcome to an Oldies inspired love jam presented by CantoMundo. This is actually CantoMundo's first event on the internet, and it's actually our first regional event too. So we just kind of want to hear some poems, hear some oldies, have a good time, and kind of keep it chill. We're learning. We're gonna start off by introducing all the readers. I'm gonna go ahead and read everybody's bio, and then we're gonna take a little quiz. That way we get to know each other a little better, readers get to know you, you get to know them, and then we're gonna go ahead and start the reading, which will be a round robin style reading. I will go ahead and read the bios, and if you guys would like, you can peep them in the chat. You can also peep the link to buy their books. Tonight we have a native on Helena, Vickie Vértiz, who is the oldest child of an immigrant Mexican family. Vértiz's writing can be found in the New York Times Magazine and the San Francisco Chronicle, among many other publications. Her first book, Tom Frond with Its Throat Cut, won the 2018 PEN America Literary Prize in Poetry, which was completed while she was at UC Riverside. A recipient of fellowships from the Mellon Foundation, CantoMundo, Macondo, Vickie teaches writing at UC Santa Barbara. Follow her adventures on IG at Vickie Vértiz and at Videsa Co. Michael Torres is a writer based in Minnesota. Michael is a VONA Distinguished Alum and CantoMundo Fellow. In 2016, he was a winner of the Loft Mentor Series, received an Individual Artist Initiative grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, and was awarded a Jerome Foundation Research and Travel grant to visit the Pueblo in Jalisco, Mexico, where his father grew up. In 2019, he received fellowships and awards from the National Endowment for the Arts, the Bread Loaf Winners Conference, and the Loft Literary Center for the Mirrors and Windows program. He's a former artist in residence in the Camargo Foundation in Cassis, France. His writing has been featured or is forthcoming in Poetry, Plowshares, and like 100 other magazines. His first collection of poems, An Incomplete List of Names, was selected by Raquel Salas Rivera for the National Poetry Series. It will be published by Beacon Press in October 2020. Michael was born and brought up in Pomona, California, where he spent his adolescence as a graffiti artist. Currently, he teaches in the MFA program at Minnesota State University, Mankato, and through the Minnesota Prison Writing Workshop. Norma Lilliana Valdez is the author of the chapbook Preparing the Body, Yes, Yes Books, 2019, a member of the Macondo Writers Workshop and a CantoMundo Fellow. Her work appears in The Rumpus, the Los Angeles Review, Pink Magazine, Tinderbox, and the anthology Latina Struggles and Protests in the 21st Century USA, among others. Norma earned a BA in psychology, an MS in counseling, and a graduate certificate in ethnic studies from San Francisco State University. She is an alumna of the UC Berkeley Extension Writing Program and has been awarded writing residencies and fellowships from Hedgebrook, Under the Volcano, Community of Writers, and the voices of our nation's arts foundation. In addition to others, Norma is a founding member of the Chingona Collective, a Bay Area women's writing group whose mission is to nurture a sustaining writing practice for its members through mutual encouragement and writing retreats. Lastly, we have Joseph Rios, the author of Shadowboxing, Poems and Impersonations from Omnidon. He's from Fresno, San Joaquin Valley. He's been a gardener, a janitor, a packing house supervisor, and a handyman. He's a recipient of scholarships from the Community of Writers Workshop at Squaw Valley and CantoMundo. He's a VONA alumnus and a Macondo Fellow. In 2015, he received the John K. Walsh Residency Fellowship from the University of Notre Dame. In 2016, his debut poetry collection was chosen by Claudia Rankin as a finalist for Omnidon's first book prize. He was named one of the notable debut poets by Poets and Writers magazine for 2017 and was a finalist for a Ruth Lilly and Dorothy Sargent Fellowship. He is a graduate of Fresno City College and the University of California, Berkeley. He lives in Los Angeles. Wherever you're at, give it up for our readers. Snap, clap, and I encourage you guys to interact in the chat. Holler at each other, holler at us, holler at the readers. You know, we don't want to have that type of reading. So another way I think you guys can get to know the readers and they can get to know you is by taking this poll. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music and ask you guys to participate in this poll. Your answers will be anonymous unless you want to talk shit in the chat. I am launching that now. You guys enjoy it. All right, it seems now we know who we're dealing with. And it seems now we know who we're dealing with. We're gonna go ahead and start with this reading. So we want CantoMundo and some of us fellows wanted to have a reading and have a time to just kick it, like without pressure, without having to be academic, without having to not mess up. So we're gonna do the opposite of all that. We're gonna mess up. We're not gonna be academic. We're gonna talk shit. We're gonna have a good time. I want you guys, as we go along, to think about all your memories, all the people you spy, and don't be afraid to share it in the chat. If it's related to oldies, poetry, or Art Laboe, it's relevant. So we're gonna go ahead and start off round robin style. We hear one poem from each poet. Between rounds, we will hear a dedication. I will be your host, and we will hear another oldies or old school jam. That is your chance to get a drink. That is your chance to go use the restroom. That is your chance to tell someone to keep it down. Enjoy it. We'll do 3 rounds, and then we'll have a little short Q&A. So we'll go ahead and get started with Vickie Vértiz.
All right, thank you, Sara. Thank you all of you for being here. This is super exciting. I put on all the gold I could find for you, so it's fun to be on a virtual cruise with you all. Las cosas tan cabronas out there. Just want to, I'm gonna get danza seca on you for a second and just thank the creator for another day of life, Mother Earth for these ways to pray, and I just want to dedicate our work today to ending white supremacy and the violence that it creates in the world. So with that said, I'm gonna read you something sexy. So, because desire is joy and resistance in the face of violence. So this is the kind of shit I can't talk to anybody about. We must have already been naked, looked out at the gold hills and said, we need to kiss next to all of that. Nos fuimos afuerita on the yellow grass. It was warm, hacía sol. Maybe you convinced me, or I you. Nos pegó no sé qué. But what if someone sees us? The eternal question that keeps me from myself. But everyone already knows. So we opened the French doors, crawled carefully out, covered the floor with someone else's blanket. Your hair too was long and brown, and your breath was sweet water. So I kissed you. The hawks above, unimpressed with our throbbing. But they could see I loved you, and your breasts, well, I knew they were not for me forever. And because I knew what you liked, I did it just more slowly because we were outside on a field trip. And because I was hungry, I ate and I ate. All I do is take, you said. So I took and took and took you. Rode and rode and rode you. Maybe I was not doing anything new. But I surprised myself and pleaded, bend, flip, and rearrange me. And I loved it like that sun on us, a dying star, everywhere at once.
Thank you, Vickie. I'm up next, and I'm coming live from the campus where I teach because there's better Wi-Fi here than my apartment. So yeah. All right, this is kind of about, I don't know if maybe it's in response to Vickie's piece. This is sort of about love or the other side of it. So for all my homies who still think about their exes years later, that's not the title. That's just what I'm thinking right now. All right. Doing donuts in an 87 Mustang 5.0 after my homie Chris gets broken up with. I want to argue for the stars, but I find them missing through this window splattered with mud. Tonight, I sit shoddy and do not ask Chris if he's okay. This is the kind of loyalty I know, how the Mustang makes 8s across the soccer field. I run my hand over Penny's Pepsi to the center console. That photo of his ex still blocks the speedometer, and the next few years of his life have already begun to carve a cave. I pluck pennies into my palm. It doesn't take long for this story to burn through the field. The safety belt shocks my collar. Chris turns and aims for a gate without easing off the gas. I yell, fuck it, to whatever I can't hear him say. And isn't that why I'm here? To watch chain links swell in his headlights. I disappear the pennies with my fist.
I want to argue for the stars. I too want to argue for the stars. After ocean. And this is how we danced. Shadows lifted from the streets. Late February, turning our hunger into plums, ripe in our palms. The cempasúchil veils of gold. Your whisper lulled night through my hair a river's current. We spelled our names in heartbeats and spilled ourselves like bracken waters. When our lips did not touch, the moon broke like rain clouds. In echoes of her thunder, splintered bones, limbs disjointed, the body's inevitable unraveling. Beneath our feet, splitting stones and another cumbia, another current, waxing, waning. Time stood useless, motionless to our farewell, which is to say, I found breath in you, which is to say, the Sensontle song had already left its body.
I was going to read something else, but given that poem about the 5.0, I'm going to read this. I don't often read this poem, but it's dedicated to my friend Ephraim from high school, and it's called Dear Ephraim. The funny thing is you know, I often read with this version from Sarah's class. So a lot of her students wrote these notes in there, and the note that one of the students wrote on this poem was, "Thanks, fool. This book means a lot to me, especially in my world when I'm looked down on for quote unquote talking funny. Viva la raza." Dear Ephraim, brother, I write to you in words only we can understand. Remember when I lit Homegirl's album on fire by that canal and pissed on the ashes, all sad like a punk ass? Fucking Chuck Taylor all-star, backseat footprint and shit, doggy style and shit, butt ass naked with Air Forces. Rains, fields, open back door, smoky coming out of the speakers, nighttime looking dark as the street, whole body wet with sheets of cold fucking water. Both nipples cut glass hard, each breath a thundercloud, and I never found out. Crazy, man. Hey, remember those wife beater tanks down 8th Street, drunk and all out of fucks? All Captain Save-A-Ho and Sanger with the zombie freak, spinning donuts with no headlights, parking brake J-turns behind Toys R Us. White boy passed out in the truck bed, switching lanes down 41. Henny and ice water like we knew what was what. Such a gorgeous morning, right? Those were the days. Calgon might be a crazy ass white boy, but he knew he had that much right. Those were the days. What I mean to say is, the two of us are gonna lose this old man. Chai too. The Corps and the Academy don't mean shit. Our bullets and poems won't save him. You know, I know. But hey, let's smoke a black and point these bitches to the sky and just pull the fucking trigger, bro. You know what I'm saying? You and me, man. Distance and time ain't nothing but a thing. I love you. Hasta pronto. Abrazo. JR.
That is your round one of poems by these Latinx poets. Now is your chance to refill your drink and to hear this dedication. This is our first dedication of the night. This one goes out from Vickie Vértiz. She dedicates this one to all her exes who are really fucking sorry they fucked up now. Here is Fire and Desire by Rick James.
Leave them. That's what I used to do. Use and abuse. love, baby. Tasted teardrop stains, yeah. I was cold as ice long ago, baby, baby. I wasn't very, very, very nice, you know. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Then I kissed your lips and you turned on my fire, baby. And you burned me up within your flame. Took me a little higher. Made me live again. You turned on my fire, baby. Then you showed me what a love could do. Fire and desire, baby. Feel it coming through. And I thank you, baby. Oh, how I thank you, baby. You taught me so much and you showed me so much love and sensitivity that since you've been gone, I don't think I've ever felt this way before. You know, it's funny how a man can change so quickly from a cold-blooded person thinking he's God's gift to him. Remember how I used to do that? I must have been crazy then. Remember when you used to?
Love them and leave them. Oh, that's what I used to do. Use and abuse them. Then I laid eyes on you. It was pain before pleasure. That was my claim to fame. With every measure, tasted your teardrop stains, yeah.
You were cold as ice long ago.
Our first dedication of the evening, out from Vickie Vértiz. If you're one of those exes, I don't feel you, but I feel sorry for you. Our next round of poetry is up next. Vickie, whenever you're ready.
So what I'm reading from is my second collection, which is looking for a home right now. And since we're on this vehicular situation, I took my DMV test in a Mustang. I think it was a 5.0. So thank you, Michael. Yeah. And I couldn't find the fucking triangle that like emerged, whatever. I almost failed. Anyway, this is called Caprice Classic. And it's actually going to come out in Boom, California. That right now is the editors of Romeo and Caribbean who are on here. So thanks, y'all. Is it talking dirty if you're just listening? What you see in the picture is me, passenger front seat, cinder block wall behind me. I mailed that picture to my Romanian pen pal, me making a sexy face in my friend's Falcon. To my right is the dustless dashboard. In the back seat is my older friend, Junior. Give me a sexy look, he says. He's taking a picture for my pen pal, but it's really for him. It's also for me. For my other friend who's driving. My sexy hair looks like this, a ponytail on top of my head, wavy brown cascading over to the side of my face. In my denim jacket and white button-up, the other thing that sizzles is my plaid flannel skirt. One my mother made. Her hands lined my hem. The driver rolls carefully down my alley, me trying out my sexy look and he's looking too. We enjoy it, watching me try. And I enjoy trying. I shelf my looks for the receiver. On the phone later, I will charm him. He was a junior. I was a freshman, listening to his dream where I was giving him head under a restaurant table, but the tablecloth covered me and no one could see. I will play along in the dark under a blanket when everyone's asleep because he doesn't scare me. He drives a Caprice Classic, a mid-'80s machine the color of sour wine. Oh yeah, I tell him. And then what did I do? Is it dirty if it was safe? We could turn it on, we could turn it off. He taught me how to drive that thing. Down the commerce streets, gray warehouses and no workers inside them at night. Entire fields of pavement for us to play on. Another night, I took a fruit roll-up and wrapped it around his finger, my first blowjob. His hands were clean, thank God. He was older, but not older scary, just old enough to make it fun. There are infinite degrees of being sexy when you're 15. The mint satin dress kind for quinceañeras, the kind where all you had to do was put your head in the lap of a boy who loved you so much he could cry and did. The kind that drives you to the drive-in and tests the limits of your high-waisted cotton panties. The kind where you're just trying to get to fucking school and you know you're being followed. But that's not sexy, that's surviving. That's an open secret. Junior knew my secrets, that I really loved, and that my friends were sometimes shitty, but also sometimes my lovers.
Damn, that was dope. Very dope, Vickie. All right, the poem was gonna read. I'm thinking now of what Joseph read, so I'll probably read this other one. All my love poems are sad, but whatever. All right, this one's called "The Pachuco's Grandson Considers the Silver Sun Pickups album Diana lent him when they last spoke 7 years ago." Long ass title. This morning, the sky stays hidden by the kind of gray you like. Egg carton thick, sloth slow jamming sun path, heavy breaths of rain land on one at a time. It should be late spring, but there are no leaves to catch what keeps falling. I am alone, of course, CD in my hand. I've been waiting for the sky to tell me what to do next. My life's not been hard, but I've spent it all without looking over my shoulder at the expanse of dust I made from what I carved away. From the curb I called kingdom. God knows how to make a sign out of anything. A song played on the radio for the 5th time that day. Petals plucked from flower heads yesterday. Danny told me you got married. He said, Diana got married, like that. And with the respect or pity men have for each other, he did not face me. I wanted him to think this was news as well. I didn't want to be lonesome. Nothing's news if you pay attention. The heavy sky rumbles, whatever it will be, has been barreling its way here. I didn't answer Danny, didn't think I had to, but because silence gathered, it stormed between the kind of guys we grew to be. He said, why you all butthurt? Really? I was thinking of a boy I am not, a boy on a skateboard from days before, pushing pavement, gripping a bouquet of roses. Did he get there to where he was going? I hope not, and I hope so. I wanted to hate that silly boy, but I couldn't. Instead, I told Danny, fool, shut the fuck up, and laughed. The sky has nothing to say this morning, and when the clouds decide to go, the sun will point at me and ask if I will stay for more or pay what I owe. Of course, I break the CD. I was always going to snap it. Gone. It doesn't play anymore. Hasn't for years. It's okay if you know this now. I used to keep it inside the glove box where I knew it was, even if I didn't want it to remind me of those years. It did. But here, watch me bend it. I can do it without the sky's answer. Watch the light warp like a bouquet's plastic wrap struck by sun. See the way it fits into my fist. Let me make it less, as long as I turn away right after, as long as I don't for an hour pluck pieces from my palm. The way a child might toss daisy petals, might say something about love as each bit hits the ground.
Whew, Michael, damn. Jeez. I'm reading from my chapbook, Preparing the Body, from Yes Yes Books. And I'm going to read this poem titled Rupture. It was written in a lonely hotel room in Visalia, California. I don't know, sometime in March of 2019. There's a reference to a Morgan in the poem, and there's a part that quotes Morgan. The Morgan I'm referring to is Morgan Parker, and this is in reference to her poem, Magical Negro number 84, The Black Body. Rupture. I am the breast I hold in each hand. Each breast, my breast, small as they be, mine nonetheless. I say never, I say no one, say when was the last time my mascara a night old. I wake on Friday and ask, what is this body anyway? Morgan answers, the body is a person, is a person, is a person, the body is a person. This body is not a fucking abstraction. When was the last time is a question I ask too much. Instead, I should ask, when will be the next time or the first time I check myself. I check myself into a hotel, begin like this. Cheap brute and a buzz. I want a buzz in my muscle, a buckle in my memory, a stumble. I want to stumble and something electric, something historic and undead, undead for God's sake, something undead and a current inside me. I send a friend a text of my moodiness. There is no bathtub for my glass, for everything that's fracturing, because everything is indeed fracturing. The hours, our touching, the letters in my name. I want the crumble. I say, bring on the crumble, the crooked stumble, bring on the rupture.
Oh man, I love hearing that poem, Norma. This poem actually came out of a workshop that Norma and I attended, and I believe Susie's in the audience too. She was also at that workshop and Community of Writers. And those of you who may or may not have gone there, you know, you got to write a poem every day and whatever. I asked Juan Felipe, you know, for some tips on like being able to write a poem every day, and he was like, "Oh, you know, you write a, you know, you write a big poem, you know, you spend 45 minutes writing a big poem, and then you know you spend another 5 minutes, you know, do a little poem, just do a little poem, you know, make a list, you know, make like a, you like music?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "You do a playlist, you know, of all your favorite songs, and then do a list of all the ways you could say blue, you know." And so I went back to the house where we were all staying. Norma was there, and there was like 8 of us there in that big house, and wrote this poem, and I started with a playlist of like all my favorite, or at least of a few favorite Art Laboe tracks to start the poem and get after his suggestion. So it's called Little Anthony on the outside, car speakers. The town I live in is lonely, the midnighters. Why can't we live together, Timmy Thomas? The love we had stays on my mind, the Dells. Be thankful for what you got, William Devon. The world is a ghetto, war, it's okay. The sun glows, to be loved, Jackie Wilson. The world is a ghetto, war, it's okay. The sun glows, to be loved, Jackie Wilson. It's okay. The sun glows. To be loved, Jackie Wilson. I reach for the dial and discover I can bend the moonlight by turning the dial on this old radio. Art LeBeau talks to a man who claims to be from Avenal, California. It's his little girl's birthday and he's missed a few. He asks for the stylistics, you know the one, you're a big girl now. The producer tells Art, nobody's really from Avenal. The producer reminds Art, you know no one's really from Avenal. I reach for the dial and discover I can bend the moonlight into a glowing, smiling now or crying later crescent, just as easily by tuning the dial on this old radio. I'm driving out near San Joaquin because I didn't know what else to do. A man tells Art LeBeau he's lived in Corcoran for 11 years, hasn't been out just as long. He requests a song by the Dramatics, the one about rain. So I can remember, the Corcoran man says. I reach for the dial and discover I can bend the moonlight so it enters the windows of this car, through the passenger side and onto my girl's face. And damn, she looks fine. We're on the 46 headed to Pismo. Gonna make a fire and camp out there on the beach, real romantic like. A man from Wasco tells Art he's been away so long. His old lady of 8 years got a new dude up in the house, but he ain't even tripping. The Wasco man requests the song Daddy's Home by Shep and the Limelights. The producer tells Art, Art, nobody's really from Wasco. The producer reminds Art, you know nobody's really from Wasco. Art, he says, you've been misled. Art, tell me, why do you insist on taking these calls from these jokers? Art says, I reached for the dial long ago and discovered I could bend the moonlight by turning the dial on this old radio. In the proper frequency, the light reaches towns you and I have never seen, like Wasco, like Abenal, like Corcoran, others, like Kern, like Chino, like Centinela, like Chowchilla, towns where corporations profit from caged human beings. This light jumps fences. It enters through the thickest of concrete walls. It opens locked iron doors, producer. The light hasn't need for windows. A good Catholic recalls the rule of intercession. I ask, what is a call but a prayer yet to be answered? The caged birds pray and Art intercedes. I carry their plea. I awaken the memories cataloged in the vinyl ridges of each song. I am the needle under the master's hand.
That completes our second round of poetry tonight. And now our second dedication. This one goes out from Norma Lilliana Valdez. She says, this is for all the kisses that never were. Here's Give Me a Little Sign by Brenton Wood.
You do want me, give me little sugar. If you don't want me, don't leave me on, girl. But if you need me, show me that you love me. And when I'm feeling blue and I want you, there's just one thing that you should do. Just give me some kind of sign, girl. Oh, my baby, to show me that you're mine, girl. Oh, yeah. Just give me some kind of sign, girl. Oh, my darling, to show me that you're mine, girl. All right. If you want me, give me a little sweet talk. If you don't want me, don't leave me on, girl. But if you need me, show me that you love me. And when I'm feeling down, wearing a frown, you'll be there when I look around. And just give me some kind of sign, girl. Oh, my baby, to show me that you're mine, girl. All right. Just give me some kind of sign, girl. Oh, my baby, to show me that you're mine, girl. All right. Just give me some kind of sign, girl. Oh, my baby, to show me that you're mine, girl. Oh, yeah. Just give me some kind of sign, girl. Oh, my darling, to show me that you're mine, girl. All right. Just give me some kind of sign.
That was our second dedication from Norma Lilliana Valdez. If you guys want to dedicate that song to someone else, feel free to type in the chat. Feel free to type in the chat and let us know. We'll go ahead and start with our last round of poems. Once again, beginning with Vickie Vértiz.
Okay, so I was debating reading this one, but since we're on the topic of music and driving and ennui and like nostalgia. Anyway, so what I want to say is that this poem is for the fans of this music and not for the artist, because that artist is trash. So this is from Palmfront. It's Lover's Letter, and it's for, I'm going to change it to fans of new wave music instead of Morrissey, because he's trash. So, yay. Because we craved permission to be despondent in English, desperate to hide erections for boys behind trapper keepers, to document Kotex leaks in our journals. We needed to be maudlin, to be untranslatable. To do this in private, in the company of someone with rank, we hunted for you in crates, battled mold and being broke, scraped pennies from grandparents who collected cans to feed us. We needed your 50s guitar in the key of sorrow, Mexican and not, born here and not, all of our duplexes are south of some freeway. No movement murals cushion our daily gray sky or our 99-cent interchanges. To your voice, we work our lives away in UPS trucks as perfect receptionists or in community college for fucking ever. This is how you hate the queen. I seized at the church for making me dirty, so we were instant friends. You made me want a public transit death so we could be together. We saved you, however, from the has-been dollar bin, where your American Manchester daydream, empty tire factories, soot-covered eyelids, cracked front teeth and bleeding lips. We fondled open your shirts and built a country around you of sidelong glances and glum gladiolas. When you saw our tight black jeans and creepers, you could taste our penchant for racing Chevys down Slauson with no headlights. We are your wistful twin, that boy you won't share. You watched us make love in cemeteries, made us trim our sideburns. Las Vegas Elvis beats made us jump like beans. We are fatalists by nations on all sides. Death happy because it constantly raps at our door. In the carcinogenic heart of this Manchester, our black lungs sing with you because every time we listen, it's our last date too.
Damn. Thank you, Vickie. Thank you for starting us off each round too. It's very, I'm fucking nervous right now still, but I'm so excited for your next book too. All right. I feel like our poems keep like crossing, like there's like that crossing theme kind of thing going on, which is really intriguing to me. So I'm gonna kind of bring it back to sort of echoing Joseph's poem again, and this is the original third poem I wanted to end with. So anyway, let me take a drink of water. All right. My brother is asking for stamps and photos of me and my new wife. He's asking for pictures from the wedding. He's very sorry he couldn't make it. He can't wait to meet her. My brother is asking if I can call a warehouse office in Albuquerque and tell them Ray, his celly is fine and that Ray would like his old job back one day if possible. My brother is asking for paper, asking for postage stamps, a few dollars on his JPay. It's June, it's July. He says it's not so bad in here, says he's not getting institutionalized, won't get institutionalized, not like the others. He has TV, he reads a lot. My brother is asking for book 5, 6, or 12 of the Women's Murder Club series. It's May, it's March, it's May, it's October. Happy Halloween, brother. He's asking again for postage stamps, telling me he might be programmed, sure, but who isn't? We all need routine. He says that one time after chow, they let the guys stay out a little longer, and the guys looked at each other like, why aren't we being locked down yet? My brother says he's a confused mouse sometimes. Sometimes he won't go out for rec, can't stand the fact that it's going to end. It's June, it's July, happy birthday, brother. My brother is asking for stamps. He's ending every letter with a cartoon of himself all homeboyed out, even though he wasn't like that before. It's like he's grown an extra life in there, and the him I grew up with is closed until not this August. I know I shouldn't imagine him this way, but I will always be younger and looking up. That's my brother. He's asking for stamps. Outside, the leaves have turned without notice. It's the week when every walnut seems to be falling from the sky, and when I drive home, I run as many over as possible. It's June. Happy birthday. It's November. My brother says he'll write when he can. He knows I'm busy. Everyone's busy. It's August, and he's looking for stamps.
Whoa. I'm going to read an unpublished poem, the most recent one I've written, Descosida. How many notions ravenous in my pocket. Fingers run the hem, hidden seams of my thigh. Hook an eye of my own making. Clavicle, waist, sinews unfold between midnight and morning. Promise me curve and sweet tuck. Backstitch the September of my body. In a small room in a country I can't call home, we are monsoon-eyed and wanting. Let ourselves believe in mythology of thunder and raw edge. Unleash our mouths like moths. Estás bien buena? Yes, I am silk and slit. Sea filament. There is nothing like wreckage of strangers in the dark. Each other's quickened breath, warp and weft.
Thank you, Norma. I'm gonna read a poem that was written after. It started as a prompt to write about Oscar Zeta Costa. Then quickly became basically well, I'll just read the title. The title is "Dear Buffalo, Dear Zeta, or to a few of my dead or nearly dead Theos. I see my dead father's face in your face. My furrowed eyebrow, these puffed cheeks, weep into a pillow of inherited hands. Theo, I still don't know what to do with this buffalo body. I crush teacups every time I raise them to my pursed lips. How do I tenderize the meat on my bones? This morning, I dry heaved a vat of foam into a toilet in Tampa and found no art in it. Who tells us we deserve to die? My Theo, you, the one with the brown beret who saw the hydrogen bomb blow from an aircraft carrier at Bikini Island, the one with Hep C and a quiet wife. I don't know if you're still alive, but I pray this world has softened you with its firm, kneading hands, that you're still able to ride your bike up Holmesy to the liquor store on Cedar and can still reach the oranges in the yard. Theo, mi Theo, when you went to bed, is it still my Thea's job to change the sheets? From the kitchen, I see the 12-foot spear over the maguey. I see its fresh blooms and know it's about to die. I wonder if it's better to disappear into Aslan or Mazatlan or Mazapan the way you did, or stay in Prather or Marysville and slowly fade into a sofa chair and reruns of Bonanza. Is there honor in being shot and skinned like Reuben, hacked up in a hospital for lymphoma research, poked and drained with the swollen face of a failed liver? How many more fists will be raised until we can no longer, or better yet, don't have to? I'm tired of thinking these things. Come back, Theo, or whatever. My mom saved you a plate. The street dump came by and I got rid of Grandpa's clothes. I found your mesh t-shirt here and I've been wearing it. Gonzafos.
You guys, wherever you are, whoever you're with, give it up for these poets. If you're on video, give it up. Snap, make noise in your house. In the chat, give it up, please. This is our first event, and I'm so proud, honestly, to just be here on this shit with you guys. I don't know what else to say. We're gonna chat a little bit for a few minutes. I think this reading kind of started off where, as many readings do, like Joseph's drunk, I'm drunk, or Angel's drunk, and we text each other, we're like, hey, wouldn't this be a really good idea? And then we pop off for like 20 minutes until somebody passes out, and then the next day someone's got to pick it up. And I think it started like this, and it was just kind of, what is something culturally that unifies us, that is undeniable, that we can't escape, that we don't want to escape, and it just kind of teaches us who we are and how we love other people, which I think is kind of what we're always trying to do and what our poems help us do. So I think we're going to start off with a bit of a lightning round, some questions I have for the poets. And then we're going to ask a broader question about oldies, old school jams, and how that influences the poets as poets and the poets as people. So I'm going to pose 3 questions, lightning round, to the poets. If you guys want to answer in the chat as well, anybody here, please do. My first question, poets, these are from the mind of Joseph Rios.
Uh-oh.
Get ready. First question.
Oh, shit.
Best place, the country fair, the beach, the boulevard, or the Walmart parking lot? Joseph, what do you think?
I hear an echo. I don't know. How about now? Okay, that's okay. I still have the echo. The best place to cruise, right? That's the question. When I was a teenager, it honestly was like the Walmart parking lot, or like big parking lots, like Toys R Us, or like fucking Michael's or some shit. Because that's where we could like do donuts at 2 a.m, you know?
There was only one place to cruise in Richmond, California, and that's 23rd Street, Richmond.
I'm going to be super lame and be like Uptown Whittier, because we were nerds and like we had old cars and they weren't like super sport. They were just old and they were cute, but it was just like not. We weren't doing donuts. Like, yeah, so Uptown Whittier. Greenleaf.
Hey, side note, shout out to your old Honda Civic though.
94. Time machine.
It was the Walmart parking lot or the Best Buy parking lot, because it was probably like a fast food place nearby. And honestly, I didn't really care too much about the cars. I was always the one that was hungry.
All right, next question. Who really killed Selena? Yolanda Saldivar or Lupe Ontiveros?
Man, you can't blame Lupe. Come on.
But you know, like all these like señoras and tias who saw her like walking around the street, like were like, she killed Selena, because like no one could like separate the film from real life. Poor Lupe had.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Lupe.
She played. Was it her obituary read like woman who played 100 maids? You know.
And I think sometimes we get salty about that shit. Like I've seen lots of writers who were like, I was mistaken for the help. I was like, what the fuck's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with the help? The help is not wrong. The wrong person is the motherfucker who like thinks that they're insulting you. Like, don't. So anyway, don't be mad if somebody asks you for something. Just be like, I was just about to ask you the same thing. I wrote a poem about that, but I'm scared to publish it. That's all I'll say.
No, I always think about this. There was some interview I read of the woman who plays the help in Gone with the Wind. She said, they said, "Oh, how do you feel?" Like this was years later. How do you feel about having played like a maid in this film, and like how you've been characterized? She said, "I had at that time I had two choices. I could be a real maid and make such and such money a week, or I could play one on a movie and I could buy myself a house."
All right, last question of the lightning round. Family party most likely to end in a fight. Baby shower, grandpa's funeral, high school graduation party, or Super Bowl?
All of the above.
I'll say high school graduation party because it's the party that you didn't get invited to that you end up going to, and then you get in a fight because of that shit.
That sounds like personal experience.
Did you say baptism?
Baby shower.
No, I mean not to like plug. I mean, of course, to plug Sarah's book, but like, I mean, I feel like Sarah might say baby shower just because of her poems. Like,
I was gonna say baby shower, but I feel attacked now, so I don't know. I'm trying to think of a poem Joseph's referencing, but it'd probably definitely be baby shower because there'd be a lot of shade, and I'd probably get drunk and be like, "Sorry, I'm not straight and didn't get married and have a 401k," and that's pretty much what I do at most family gatherings. I think my mom and dad are at this reading, so sorry, mom and dad, I do that all the time. I think also too somebody in the chat saying Raiders when they don't win the Super Bowl. Rosa.
I did go to a wedding once where somebody was stabbed and there was blood on the bride's dress. Anyway, that ended in divorce just like a few years later. My sister knows what I'm talking about. Adan's wedding, huh?
Norma's like the most rancho hood person I've ever known.
So classy. What are you talking about?
I think I can speak for a lot of people here when it's like half your family is Raiders fans and half your family is Niners fans, and they just fight like on any day because of some bullshit. All the resentment built up.
Bro, I've had like some of the most intense like conversations with like people who I just met have become family, talking about the Raiders losing the Super Bowl like against the Buccaneers, like us replaying the 4 years leading up to that, like over like 2 hours of conversation, and then after the conversation we cry, we become like the best of friends and like our pen pals and shit. Like
so I'd like to ask one more question on a little not so crazy side, but I guess I'd like to ask the poets, in what ways, Joseph was talking to me and Angel Garcia about this the other day and was saying that Art LeBeau says that the sentimentality of oldies gives people permission to emote. And what is it for each of you about oldies about old school jams that gives you permission, and permission to do what? So as a poet, you know, as a person, what do you feel that oldies, old school inspires you to do? And whoever wants to pick it up, I know I threw that out there all crazy, but you know, I don't know, Joseph, maybe if you want to start off.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I thought about it a lot when I was picking the songs that I was going to put on the playlist, you know, because there's some, I mean, I feel, and I was telling Angel later too, after, you know, saying a lot of these songs, you know, I'm, you know, 32, going to be 33 this year. And a lot of these songs I've been listening to since birth, right? And these are my mom's songs. They're not my grandmother's songs. They're my mom and dad's songs, you know, and the songs I chose, I was like, oh, these are all songs like that we had CDs of these in the house. So when my mom was at work and I was at home alone with the radio, there was a stack of CDs next to the radio, and it was like the Isley Brothers, it was Tower Power, it was Santana, it was like all these CDs. So like I got really like I felt really connected to these, and I have some personal ones, and of course over a 30-year period I've you know, gone more crate diving with the songs. But I really like that quote, like that it gives you the excuse to like emote, because I mean all those parties that we talked about where there would be fights, it's like everyone like is like holding back all this emotion and like looking for an excuse to let it out. And like it's whether it's a baptism for like a fucking, you know, 8-month-old, or like first communion, or you know, high school graduation, whatever, it's like everyone's looking for an opportunity to like express this emotion to each other, because we like all love each other so much, and we also are angry at each other so much, and we also like resent each other so much, and we're like looking for an opportunity or trying to get drunk enough to say what we want to say to each other. And like these like, and it's like, oh, like some family you only see at funerals, some you only see at weddings, some you know, and all these like occasions that we see each other, you know, oftentimes you end up in a backyard or in a garage or in the patio, and someone's got like a speaker on, and someone's playing music, and these songs become kind of like just like placeholders for like, and also common ground for our family members to really feel like we're each other's people, you know. And I don't know, yeah, so as a poet I feel like it, you know, those are those places like I as a poet I feel like I want to stay in. Like I don't want it to be like just for these like occasions, you know. As a poet, that's where I want to live, you know.
I'll chime in next if you want, Sarah. You know, I was listening to the playlist today, kind of getting ready for this event, and I listened to a lot of oldies, and I cannot remember when I first listened to these songs, because in my household, in my family, you know, my family is still very much rooted in Mexico. So the music at family parties is always like the more traditional rancheras. And so like my mom would play, people are on the chat saying Vicente Fernandez does like what the oldies do. It's different. I mean, it may tug at some of the emotional strings that way, but I was trying to think, I can't remember, like, was I listening to this stuff on my own? I know my Tio Chava was listening to some of it, but it was the kind of music he was listening to himself, and we would sometimes take his records. I don't know, I think I was drawn to those, not necessarily from the tradition of my family. But anyway, what I love about Oldies and what they let me do is just, they let me just gush all over love. And I feel all gushy and happy, and they bring me so much joy, and I dance. And it just, to me, it taps like these emotions that are, maybe I don't have access to every single day in you know, work life, home life, and all this bullshit now, and quarantine. And you know, so when I put on some Oldies, it's a way to kind of get through and maybe tap into another side that is just really desiring to gush out.
I'll go next in the lineup. I thought about a lot of things as Joseph was speaking, and just want to like echo that. Yeah, my family, like Norma's, was like a little more rancho, and my parents are also older. My parents are in their late 70s, so I made a playlist recently for my students at UC Santa Barbara of what being Chicanx means to me, because I put that X in there because I was like, well, you know, it's not just the, oh, we're growing, we're changing, we're looking at things that we were missing before. And that playlist had like Pachuco Boogie, it had fucking Tigres del Norte, it had like Caifanes. And so like, to me, music is a way in writing to set a place and a tone and a mood, and to say the things that I can't say, right? And so like in poetry or in writing, I feel like that's where I'm most free, and I feel like music is that extension of that, right? And something that you can replay over and over again that's like socially acceptable. It's like, there's Vickie playing her fucking Lisa and Cold Jam again, right? Because part of me, some little part of me, makes me think of that Sandra Cisneros short story where she's like, I'm this age today, but I'm also, you know, 10 and 9 and 8 and 7. Like those parts of us are still there. And so there is part of me that's like, well, I wonder if he'd take me home. I don't know. But I got a home and this like beautiful partner and beautiful life and beautiful, but like there's parts of things that we have to revisit in our lives, right? And so like music is that for me. And Oldies in particular, I kind of connect those to like a couple of exes in particular and a couple of homegirls from El Paso. So like not my own upbringing, but later in life, and like realizing that I could, because I grew up hella like nerdy and thinking that I really believed in the meritocracy of like, oh, you're smart, therefore you are better than your neighbors, which is complete bullshit. But like also the survival strategy when I didn't know how to fight, I didn't, you know, like whatever, that's all I had. So there was this way where like I didn't allow myself to like be into shit that was popular because of that, and I missed out on so much. So now I'm making up for it. And in terms of like, I don't know, I was also thinking, well, Joseph was talking about how like you have to get drunk enough to say these things. And I think what's hard is that, you know, we were talking about these parties, and like I've been starting to go to these really amazing Al-Anon meetings and realizing like, oh, so all this shit that I've been dealing with and all these feelings and all these coping mechanisms are because I grew up in a household with a lot of alcoholism. And so like that's going to find its way into my writing next. I haven't, you know, but I look at my writing and I look at all of our writing and like how much music can express those things that we can't express for ourselves. So, so yeah, it's really beautiful, but also really difficult. And like, I don't go to a lot of family parties anymore because people get fucked up, and I can't handle it now. It's like, I'm not there for it anymore, right? So yeah, so I guess there's some nostalgia for that too. But if you have a quinceañera coming up, invite me, because I've been missing. Not that we can do it, but you know, later.
I think to me, like thinking of oldies and writing poems, for me, they're like kind of, they have the ability to be intertwined in that like, even like today getting ready for this, I was like, okay, like I'm like channeling like some sort of younger self with my fucking Adidas, you know, sweatshirt and my backwards hat, even though I'm sitting in my office at school. But so there's this like sort of like, you know, my foundation of music knowledge to me was like hip hop. Like when I was coming of age and like really interested in like music, it was like hip hop, and oldies reminds me of being a teenager. And what Oldies sort of did for me, and poetry did as well, was like, it gave me this space to perform like a tenderness that I had in like inside that I couldn't actually show out in an exterior sort of way, like every day. And I think it did that same thing for my homies. So poetry does that for me now, and Oldies had done that. It was this sort of like guide of how you can kind of, you and your friends, like, or me and my homies, like, how could we sort of walk through with our, like, you know, permission to emote, like, how could we walk through this life and actually feel things without like losing any of our sense of like masculine identity. So I don't know, I really do appreciate the Oldies for that. Oldies and poems now, where like that space for tenderness that would like otherwise be spent on like neglect or ignorance, right? Yeah.
Can I say one more thing about that? So one thing that like always is like so glaring to me that I think we keep forgetting to do is to talk about like the amazing Black radical tradition from which Oldies come and in which we participate and like make together, right? So like we, you know, we're like very Chicano with an O, like saying, oh, we came up with this. We like didn't at all, but we have been in community and in art making together with Black and Native communities and Asian American communities. You know, like, don't forget Boyle Heights was like Japanese American, and that's just down the street. So like, you know, they like cars too. So, so I think there's a way where like, there's a way for us to participate in each other's lives and each other's cultures and appreciate how it can, you know, bring us together, despite and through violence into love. That's it.
I want to add one more thing too. That's great, Vickie. Thank you. My homegirl Susie is reminding me that also Oldies can fill in the silence, the quiet space when you don't know, when you don't know what to say. They keep you company on the way home from the hospital. The last time you ever see your homegirl, Teresa Guadiana, we went to see her in Visalia, and we were driving home. Susie and I were driving home, and we didn't know what to say because we knew that was going to be the last time we saw Teresa. And what can you say? Nothing. We sat in the car for 3.5 hours listening to Oldies. Was our way to support each other and knowing we were losing this very special person, but also to honor Teresa, who always would say, hey, we're going to read poems, we're going to read some poems. She was not a poet, but she always encouraged us, our creative art form. And I've yet to be able to write a poem for Teresa, but damn, those songs always remind me of her.
I think it's cool how talking about Oldies and talking about music and hearing all these poems tonight, we hear like the wide, ambitious range and scope like of Latinx poetry, like of sentimentality, and also of like what we can do and who we can be when we like let ourselves feel shit, you know. And sometimes it takes a song, sometimes it takes a poem, sometimes it takes a beer, but I think whatever that is, that permission that like I know that I don't give myself all the time, like I get through you, you know, I get through Joseph, and I get through Norma, and I get through Vickie, and I get through Michael, and each other's work. And it's just been such an honor to share this room with you guys tonight. It's been great hearing your guys' work. I want to go ahead and ask everybody here to give it up one last time for our readers, Michael Torres, Vickie Vértiz, Norma Lilliana Valdez, and Joseph Rios. If you like their shit, you're able to buy their books, please go ahead and support them. Buy it for a homegirl, buy it for your mom, buy it for your niece, buy it for your godson, whatever. you'll see links in the chat there. We are going to end by also posting the last time the Spotify playlist, which was made by these 4 poets that I read for you tonight. I want to go ahead and lastly just say thank you to all the poets for being down.
Wait, Sarah, sorry. Can you give the answers to the polls?
To the polls, let me see. Can you guys see them? Yeah, okay, check them out. So let me do the poll one last time, the results. Number 1, as Michael Torres always wonders, which blood in, blood out character do you identify with most? Most of you said Paco. Michael, who do you identify with most?
Definitely Miklo. I'm always trying to fit in.
Number 2, the theme song at Norma's prom was Make It Last Forever by Keith Sweat. Which of the following are true about that prom night? Most of you said her date was her prima's primo. Norma, what was the answer?
The answer was all of the above. My date was my prima's primo. I wore a peach-colored dress with ruched bodice that my mother made, and my date drove up from El Monte and took me to prom in a monster truck, and I did trip and fall going down the steps in the ballroom, and I definitely did not want to make this prom night last forever.
Number 3 is Vickie Vértiz often considers if they were to do a reboot of Mi Vida Loca, which character would you want to make out with? Most of you said Mousy, Sad Girl, and Do With the Truck combo.
Obviously.
What's your answer?
I mean, that one. Because also the keyword is reboot. So who be looking good still? Do you know what I'm saying? Intergenerational desire. Just kidding.
And our last question was, Joseph Rios has posed in photos with all these blood in, blood out cast members except one. Most of you guessed Geronimo. Joseph, what was the answer?
Miklo, unfortunately. That's one of the best things about living in LA is like seeing all these motherfuckers when you're like at the taco shop.
Was that shit a trick question? Because you took a picture with Danny Trejo. So was that fool not in that movie? It was a long time ago.
He was in the movie. His name was Geronimo in the movie.
Trick question, fool.
You got to look deep into the IMDb on that one. But he's not a principal character, but he is a character in there.
So now we know more. I want to just thank Angel and Joseph for the late night texts, getting this cracking. I want to thank the poets, you guys. Give it up one more time for the poets, for sharing their work and being down. Thank you guys for test running with me and figuring this shit out. I want to thank Angel Garcia, who was the silent creator and producer of this reading tonight. He created that cool ass flyer you guys all saw. And he's also my co-host tonight, posting everything in the chat. And I also want to thank CantoMundo for always, in the past, bringing us together, but also giving us the foundation to bring ourselves together when we have to. And I think that's one of those nights where we get to learn each other through there and also figure out what it's going to look like in the future. Anybody has questions about like how any of us did this, you want to reach out and do some shit, please like email me, hit me up on Instagram, I'm sure any of the readers would be down to give their insight about how this worked. And we're gonna
Big mano to Sara Borjas. Big mano to Sara Borjas for fucking spending all day doing all the tech shit for this goddamn thing and trying to figure it out. Big mano, in the words of Juan Felipe.
Guys, it was seriously crazy. But like I said, that's why I want to share the info. I don't want you guys to, so if you guys want to do a reading, holler at me and let's chat. We're going to end this reading with a song, and we're going to end this reading by going out slowly. I'm going to keep the chat open for a little bit. If anybody wants to say anything last to each other, I'm going to keep it in the middle, and I'm going to share my screen. So you guys, thank you again, and good night.
last dime, a last meal, a last sip of wine.
Yes, we can.
Come on, baby. We can share everything together. Come on, baby. Together we can make this journey. Together we can make this journey. It's gonna work out fine.
Thank you again. Signing off tonight. So you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you again. I'll see you soon. Good night.